Welcome back. In our last video, we talked about fair housing laws. And in this one, we're going to look at the accommodations and modification housing providers should provide to make their properties accessible to persons with disabilities. Federal law defines a person with a disability as any individual with 1. A physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. 2. A record of such impairment. Or 3. An individual who is regarded as having such an impairment.
A reasonable accommodation is a change, exception, or adjustment to a rule, policy, practice, or service that may be necessary for a person with disabilities to have equal opportunity to use and enjoy the dwelling. Examples include adjusting a rent payment schedule to accommodate when individuals receive their income assistance payment, permitting an applicant to submit a housing application via different means, and allowing assistance and emotional support animals when there is a no pet policy. Persons with disabilities have a right to request accommodations for both service animals and emotional support animals, even in homes where regular pets aren't allowed. A reasonable modification is a physical change to the property to make it accessible to a person with a disability. Examples include lowering the countertops or cabinets, or installing handrails and grab bars in stairways and bathrooms.
A person with a disability has a right to make a request for a reasonable accommodation or reasonable modification. It's important to know that you can request an accommodation at any time. You can request an accommodation verbally or in writing. While your request is not required to be in writing, it is helpful for your housing provider to have a record of the request when it is made. The request for an accommodation or modification should explain the connection to your disability. The request should include a description of the disability-related need for a change. The request must be reasonable, meaning it can't cause an undue administrative burden on the housing provider or their programs and services. If it is reasonable, a housing provider cannot refuse to grant the accommodation. If the housing provider refuses the request, it may be grounds for a complaint of discrimination based on disability. If you're submitting a request for a service animal or emotional support animal, get documentation from a medical or mental health provider indicating the disability-related need for the animal. The landlord may not require you to disclose any personal medical information, just the disability-related need for the emotional support animal. And they may not charge any extra fees, deposits, or rent for the animal, and may not restrict the breed or size of the animal you're allowed to have.
It's also important to talk about what protected disabilities do not include. Housing providers are not required to accommodate current illegal substance abusers, individuals who pose a direct threat to health and safety of others, or individuals whose tendencies would result in substantial physical damage to the property.
Because of the majority of disabilities are protected under the law, you can find a home in Pennsylvania and feel confident requesting the accommodations or modifications that will allow you to thrive in your home. For more information about reasonable accommodations, visit HUD.gov and select the language option on the top right to see available languages. Thanks for watching, and good luck on your housing journey.